Hello everyone and welcome back to BYJU'S. Let's start with our daily quiz. First question. Consider the following statements. An adjournment suspends the work in a sitting for a specified time and the time of reassembly is not specified. An adjournment only terminates a sitting and not a session of the House. Statement number 3. The power of adjournment lies with the President. So, which one of the statements is or are true? You can pause the video and take an attempt at the question. Let's begin. The first statement. An adjournment suspends the work in a sitting. Obviously, an adjournment suspends the work in a sitting for a specified time, which may be hours, days, or even weeks. However, in the case of adjournment, the time of reassembly is actually specified. It is only in the case of adjournment sine die where the time of reassembly is not specified. Sine die actually means without day, without assigning a day for further meeting or hearing. So the first statement stands incorrect. What about the second statement? An adjournment only terminates a sitting and not a session of the House. Yes, the adjournment actually only terminates a sitting of the day or a couple of days or weeks and not the entire session, which takes place over a couple of months. Statement number 3, the power of adjournment lies with the President. Now, this statement is wrong because the power of adjournment lies with the presiding officer of the House. However, it is prorogation or the termination of session of the House, which is done through an order made by the President under Article 85. Clause 2, subclause A, which actually terminates the session. Prorogation terminates both the sitting and the session, which is done by the President. However, the adjournment and adjournment sine die is done by the presiding officer of the House and not the President. So the third statement stands incorrect and the answer for this question becomes B, 2 only. This question was basically picked up from one Indian Express article yesterday, which talked about the Lok Sabha being adjourned for a day amid opposition over farm laws. Moving on, the next question. Which of the following statements is incorrect? A. World Wetlands Day is celebrated every year on 2nd of February. B. Chilika Lake is the largest Ramsar site of India. C. The central government recently announced the establishment of a Center for Wetland Conservation and Management, CWCM, the first of its kind in India. India is not a party to Ramsar Convention on Wetlands. Let's begin. On the occasion of the World Wetland Day, which actually was yesterday, and as a part of its commitment towards conservation, restoration and management of India's wetlands, the Minister of State for Environment, Forest and Climate Change, Mr. Babu Supriyo, yesterday announced the establishment of a Center for Wetland Conservation and Management, which will be a part of the National Center for Sustainable Coastal Management. This dedicated center, which was launched yesterday, would actually be addressing specific research needs and knowledge gaps, and that will aid in the application of integrated approaches for conservation, management, and wise use of wetlands. India has around 4.6% of its land as wetlands, which covers an area of over 15.26 million hectares. And India also has 42 sites which are designated as Ramsar sites. Now, what are these Ramsar sites? Any wetland site which has been listed under the Ramsar Convention that aims to conserve and promote sustainable use of its natural resources is called a Ramsar site. Ramsar Convention is the one which is known as the Convention on Wetlands. It was established way back in 1971 by UNESCO. This convention came into force in 1975. In fact, the year 2021 commemorates the 50th anniversary of the signing of the Ramsar Convention on Wetlands on the 2nd of February 1971 in Ramsar in Iran. And that is why this date is celebrated world over as the World Wetlands Day. And yes, India is a party to Ramsar Convention. In fact, India signed under it on the 1st of February 1982. In fact, Chilika Lake is the largest Ramsar site of India. Chilika Lake and one Keoladev National Park of Rajasthan were recognized as the first Ramsar sites of India. And the smallest Ramsar site or the smallest wetland of India is the Renuka wetland in Himachal Pradesh. So the first statement is actually correct. The second statement is also correct, and the third as well. The establishment of CWCM, which took place yesterday, and the fourth statement, that is D, is not correct because India is actually a party to Ramsar Conventions. So the right answer would be D. Again, this question was from one PIB article yesterday, where on World Wetlands Day, India gets its first Center for Wetland Conservation and Management. Moving on. Question number 3. Consider the following statements about Jal Jeevan Mission Urban. It has been designed to provide universal coverage of water supply to all households through functional taps. It is in line with Sustainable Development Goal 6. It will promote circular economy of water through development of city water balance plan for each city, focusing on recycle and reuse of treated sewage, rejuvenation of water bodies, and water conservation. So again, which of the statements mentioned above is or are correct? During her budget speech, the Honorable Finance Minister actually announced Jal Jeevan Mission Urban, which has been designed to provide universal coverage of water supply to all households through functional taps. This is to be done in all 4,378 statutory towns, and yes, this is being done in accordance with SDG goals or the Sustainable Development Goal, goal number 6, which is clean water and sanitation for all. In fact, 2.6 crore is the estimated gap in the urban household tap connections that is proposed to be covered under JJM Urban. JJMU, or the Jal Jeevan Mission Urban, will promote circular economy of water through development of city water balance plan for each city, and the focus will be on recycling and reusage of treated sewage, rejuvenation of water bodies, and also water conservation. In fact, 20% of water demand is to be met by reused water with development of institutional mechanisms. So, the first statement stands correct, the second one is also correct, and the third as well. So, the right answer is D, all of the above. This question was actually picked up from one PIB article and also the Union Budget 2021-2022. Next question. A prelims question from 2019. Consider the following statements. The motion to impeach a judge of the Supreme Court of India cannot be rejected by the Speaker of Lok Sabha as per the Judges Inquiry Act of 1968. Number 2. The Constitution of India defines and gives details of what constitutes incapacity and proved misbehavior of the judges of the Supreme Court of India. Statement 3. The details of the process of the impeachment of judges of the Supreme Court of India are given in the Judges Inquiry Act of 1968. And number 4. If the motion of the impeachment of a judge is taken up for voting, the law requires the motion to be backed by each house of the parliament and supported by a majority of total membership of that house and by not less than 2/3 of total members of that house present and voting. So the first statement, the motion to impeach a judge of the Supreme Court of India cannot be rejected by the Speaker of Lok Sabha. This statement stands incorrect because as per the Judges Inquiry Act, the presiding officer, be it the chairman of Rajya Sabha or the Speaker of Lok Sabha, reserve the right to reject such a motion. In fact, in the case of Chief Justice of India, Deepak Mishra, this was actually exercised by the chairman of Rajya Sabha and the motion was rejected. Statement number 2, the Constitution of India defines and gives detail of what constitutes incapacity and proved misbehavior. This statement is also wrong. The Constitution nowhere defines what would constitute incapacity and also proved misbehavior. In fact, there is one Article 317, Clause 4, which partially goes on to define what could be a possible misbehavior. However, in case of judges of Supreme Court, there is no such definition as to what would be incapacity or proved misbehavior. So the first two statements stand incorrect. Moving on. Statement number 3. The details of the process of the impeachment of the judges of Supreme Court are given in Judges Inquiry Act 1968. The statement is actually true. Yes, it is the Judges Inquiry Act 1968 which governs the process of impeachment, and this has been done by the Parliament by a law which is provided for under Article 124 Clause 5, which states that Parliament may by law regulate the procedure for the presentation of an address and for the investigation and proof of misbehavior or incapacity of a judge. So the statement number 3 is correct. Statement number 4 is actually Article 124 Clause 4. Such a motion of impeachment, when it is taken up for voting, actually requires a special majority. This means majority of not less than 2/3 of the members present and voting in both the houses separately, and also more than 50% of the total membership of the house. So statement number 4 is also correct. This means that the right answer is C, 3 and 4 only. Time for fact of the day, the Chauri Chaura incident. Let's see a question first. Consider the following statements with respect to a Chauri Chaura incident. 4th of February 2021 marks 100 years of the Chauri Chaura incident, a landmark event in the country's fight for independence. In this incident, a large group of protesters and demonstrators attacked and set fire to a police station, killing all of its occupants. Statement number 3, it resulted in Gandhiji withdrawing the civil disobedience movement. Now I'm sure all of you are aware as to the Chauri Chaura incident. In fact, this question has been taken up from one PIB article, that is PM to inaugurate the Chauri Chaura centenary celebrations on 4th of February. The centenary celebrations and various events will actually begin in all 75 districts of the state of Uttar Pradesh from 4th of February 2021 and will continue till the 4th of February 2022. Coming back to the question. On the 4th of Feb 1922, a mob of around 2,000 people gathered to picket a liquor shop at Chauri Chaura, a town near Gorakhpur, Uttar Pradesh. In fact, the local administration sent armed police to control the situation. The police tried to disperse the crowd by firing 2 shots in the air. So stone pelting started and police fired and killed 3 people. The result was that the outrageous mob set the police chowki on fire and all 23 police personnel inside got burnt alive. In fact, first and second statements are actually correct. What was the result of this? Within a week of the incident, on the 12th of February 1922, when the Congress leaders met at Bardoli, Gandhiji decided to withdraw the non-cooperation movement. In fact, it was a bit controversial, but by that time, Gandhiji's figure was respected by every congressman, thus they accepted this decision. So, the third statement is actually wrong because it resulted in Gandhiji withdrawing the non-cooperation movement and not the civil disobedience movement. In fact, in 1930, on the 6th of April, along with 78 followers, Gandhiji reached the Gujarati coastal town of Dandi and ceremonially violated the law and started manufacturing salt by boiling seawater. This movement marked the beginning of CDM, or the Civil Disobedience Movement. So the third statement stands incorrect, the first 2 are right, and the right answer is A. So that's all for today. Thank you.